Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. In this video, I'll be showing you everything you need to know to successfully use MailChimp. So this is a full tutorial for beginners, no matter what you're doing. Whether that's a simple email campaign, you just want to send an email to a short list of email subscribers, or you want to manage email lists, or you want to do any of the newer things that MailChimp allows you to do, such as make an entire website, run ads, create graphics, or any of the other things that I'll be showing you in this video. So MailChimp is incredibly powerful, and like I said, this is a full tutorial to show you everything very easily so that by the end of this video, you can go from being a total beginner to an expert with MailChimp, which is a fantastic tool, honestly. If you're doing any kind of personal brand work or a fundraiser or an online store, a small business, it doesn't matter what you're doing, MailChimp is a fantastic marketing tool, not only because they've always been a really good source for email marketing, but now they're actually adding more and more features, as I mentioned. And so MailChimp is honestly a fantastic skill to learn for anybody looking at marketing. And so that's why we're going to talk about it in this video. I want to start off on my laptop here. And the good thing is this is totally web-based. So it doesn't matter if you start on one computer and you end up on your phone or a tablet or another computer. All of your work is going to be saved online. Everything's done online, so you don't have to download software, and it's really easy to use. So we want to start off on whatever browser you like. I'm just using Google Chrome here, and I'm going to go to santrelmedia.com/MailChimp, or you can click on the link in the top of the description, and that will make sure we're all starting off on the same page. It should look something like this. They might change the graphics, but the main thing is that you want to go up to the top right and say sign up for free. Assuming you don't already have an account, we're going to sign up, create our account, and something I want to mention is that MailChimp has a couple different tiers. The good thing is they start off free, so you can easily use free MailChimp and really do a lot with that. Or if you want something more powerful, you have the option to upgrade and pay for some other plans and have much larger audiences and more capabilities. But starting off free at the very least allows you to learn stuff. It's not just a free trial. It's literally free indefinitely as long as you stay within their limits. So we're going to start off with my email. So we're going to say Mike, we're going to say tutorials@santrelmedia.com. So following that, it'll bring us to this page where we can choose the plan we want. And obviously you can see it gets very expensive if you have a massive brand. But you can start off for free, which is what we're going to do in this video. And the free one gives you 2,000 contacts and 10,000 email sends. So, I mean, obviously it's more than enough to get you started if you have no email list yet. And now we're going to set this up. So I'm going to say first name, last name, and then business name. I'm just going to say Santrel Tutorials. And then website URL, this is optional, phone number is optional. I'm going to include my website URL for now. So we're going to say santrelmedia.com. And you can import your brand if you want, which is going to essentially allow you to do a little bit of extra stuff with brand stuff. I'll show you later on in the video, but we are going to say continue. So then we have to add our address. This is something that is required if you're going to be sending out any kind of emails. So don't give them like a fake address. You want it to be a real address, or at least like a UPS box or something. But for international spam laws, as it says right there, we're going to add our address. And then it says, do you have a list of contacts? If you're going to import a list from somewhere else, you would say yes. Obviously, right now I do not. We're going to start from scratch, and I'll show you guys how you can start collecting your own list through social media, whatever you're doing. But now it's going to ask us a couple other things just to kind of tailor it to us, what we plan on doing. So I'm going to say like maybe services, technology, software, actually original content. Let's just say that. We're going to be maybe a blog, a hypothetical blog here. And we are going to say continue. Of course, you could skip all of this if you want, but I'm going to say that maybe this right here is my own website, continue, and it's going to say, we're ready to go. Do you want to get emails from MailChimp? Personally, I do not. I already know enough about MailChimp right now. But with that being said, we'll say continue. And that will bring us over to the next page. And so that's going to bring you back to a page that looks something like this. If for some reason it doesn't, you can always just go to the end of the URL and delete everything after MailChimp.com, hit enter, and it will bring you to this page right here. Now, this page is a lot different than it was in even just last year's tutorial, but more importantly, all the older ones. If you've seen anything from the past, if you've ever tried to use MailChimp in the past, it is completely different right now. When I first started using it in about 2015, 2016, it was way harder to use. So now they have a really nice dashboard, honestly. So in the middle, they have a whole bunch of things that you can, kind of click and they'll walk you through stuff. But really, we want to focus on what's on the left side. This is all of the menu you have. And so they really categorize it into a bunch of different features. They have the audience, so managing your contacts. And we're going to go through that in a second. You have campaigns, so sending out emails essentially. automations, which means when something triggers an automation, you can send out an email or do a bunch of different stuff and really automate what you're doing based on events that happen. You can actually build an entire website here. You can go to Content Studio, which is similar to like canva.com. And we have integrations as well, or you can get down to search if you're looking for something specific and you can't find it. But on the very top, you actually have create. So as you come back to this website more and more frequently, you go to MailChimp.com to send out email campaigns, whatever, you're probably going to end up using this one the most. So we're going to come to this one last, just because I want to show everything first before we go into create, because create is kind of just a quick summary of what you want to make. If you want to make an email, if you want to make an email template, you can do all of that right here. You can go down and make a landing page, a survey, an ad, social media post, all kinds of different stuff, all in one location. So it's very easy to just log onto MailChimp, go over to create, and start making whatever you want to make. So with that being said, let's go down the left side first and talk about some of the tools we have available and what MailChimp is really all about before we get into making that. The first thing is actually audience here. And if we click on audience, you'll see, again, we have a bunch of options within audience. And again, they're making it easier over time to manage MailChimp. It's something I really like to see. But we have audience dashboard. Without an audience right now, we're not going to see much here, but I can tell you from my other brands that it's going to show you how many people are subscribed, how many are unsubscribed. It's going to show you stuff about who's in what tags, how many people are in different tagged groups, because you can add tags when people sign up for your email list based on where they came or all kinds of different parameters, and we'll get into that in a second. But going down to all contacts, this is something that if you're interested in seeing who is subscribed to you, or if you want to see different things, like you want to manually add a contact, somebody emails you and says, hey, I want to be on your list, you can manually add them here just by going to add contacts. You can add a subscriber, or you can actually import contacts if you had an email list from a different platform. We can also delete contacts. If for some reason somebody subscribed and they don't want to be subscribed anymore, they're sending you angry emails and they don't know how to click unsubscribe, you can manually do it yourself within here. There's also a couple of other things within settings. You can go to inbox, surveys, a couple little shortcuts within here that you don't have to go to sign up forms here. Instead, you can go to sign up forms on the left side. It's generally what I do, but they're trying to make it easy with more shortcuts in more places. So if we go to sign up forms, though, this is going to be essentially how, or one of the ways people could join your email list. So if somebody wants to join your email list, you could have a form embedded in your website. That's a really common way to do this. And if you have a WordPress website, a Shopify site, if you have Squarespace, whatever you're using, almost anything out there is going to integrate with MailChimp because MailChimp's so big. It's really, really popular. And so embedded forms right here is going to allow you to get the HTML code that you're just going to copy and paste. So it's very easy to do that. But of course, some sites, it's even easier than that, no code required, and you'll be able to integrate with MailChimp. But that's just one way if you already have a site and you want to use that with MailChimp. Another way you can actually get sign-up forms is just through the form builder, which is a way that I would typically recommend to anybody that is either a social media influencer, maybe you're on Instagram, TikTok, whatever, or in any other situation where you don't have a website, at least not yet. And you can make a website on here, but when you're just getting started, it might be easier to just make a form. We can also go down and make a couple other things, some pop-ups, integrations with Facebook, but let's start off with the form builder. Okay, so the form builder looks something like this, and unfortunately it's not incredibly user-friendly right now, but it is definitely improving. And essentially what we have here, a very simple bare bones just layout here, gray background, little boxes, and we can rearrange these boxes. So when somebody signs up, you have different things that they can add. So the first thing is their email address. If we click on that, it highlights it in this kind of yellowish color, and on the right side we'll see that the field label is email address. The field tag is email, which is good because it's going to categorize any input into this into the email column of your contacts list. And this is definitely, obviously, a required field. You can make this visible, it can't be hidden, and we can have help text right here. So we could say like example at domain.com, and that's going to be like a really light text in the background. So we can say save, and that's going to show up in the background when someone's doing that. Okay, so that's the first one. Now we can go down to first name. We want that. The next one is untitled, so you can have that like middle initial if we want. So we could maybe if we want to have middle initial. Actually, I feel like I don't really care about middle initial. We're going to hit the little minus button to delete this, and we have to type delete in all caps. and say delete, and that'll get rid of that form. So now we have email address, first name, last name, and maybe we want address, maybe we want birthday. Let's actually add birthday. You'll see on the right side, we actually have add a field. We have a huge list of different fields we can add. So the zip code, if you only care about like the US only, website, image, birthday, date, drop down. You can have checkboxes, stuff like that. So let's actually add birthday. Something I like to do a lot of times is actually send people like a discount on their birthday. And so if you know someone's birthday, you can obviously set up an automation and send them a discount on their birthday. So for this one, we're going to call it birthday. We're going to actually call this birthday. Birthday is going to be the field tag. That's something that we'll be using on the back end. Obviously, nobody sees that. And the date format can be month, day. That's fine by me. And this can be a required field or an optional field. So that's another cool thing you have right here. And so let's save this right here. So we're going to say save. And we can also move these around. So if you click and drag them up and down, you can rearrange it as you want. And so if we go back, let's add one more thing. Let's add a radio button, just like select or deselect basically. Or actually, instead of radio button, let's add a checkbox. So I think we added both. We're going to delete one of them. Right here, we're going to delete this one. So let's hit the minus, type delete. We don't want those radio buttons. And instead, we just want that little checkbox on the end. In the checkbox, if we click on it again, so it turns yellow, we can actually change what this says. Instead of group, category, whatever, we could just say, I want to join your email list. In case you want some kind of like secondary confirmation that people are not accidentally doing this. And we could change the group name to join list. And we are going to save this field. And this could be visible. And it's just a little checkbox that they can say yes or no. And of course, we're not making it like a mandatory thing. So this is a bad example of what I would use that for. But it could be maybe something like send me. It could be like send me birthday gifts. Send me birthday discounts. And we could change this to B-Day discounts. So we'll save that. And so that's essentially how you would see your form. If we copy this little URL right here, so we can just copy it and paste it in a new tab, and you'll see that it's going to show up just like this. Good way to test it, good way to add an email. And like I said, when you click on it, it gives you a little help thing below that, which we set up. If we go and click on email address, right down here, the help text is what's going to show up there. So we can see that right there. And if we go and enter all this stuff and hit subscribe, it'll go and actually add whoever did this to our email list. A great way to sign up. Of course, this is very bare bones though, and it doesn't look especially aesthetically pleasing. So you can actually go over to design it, and you have a couple other options. So not a whole lot of stuff here. The body, the forms, stuff like that, you really can't change too much other than like the background, the header, the outer wrapper if you want it to be like outlined in a box. So this is not always the most beautiful way to, or the most elegant way to have a sign up form. Really embedding it in a website will probably look substantially better, but this is definitely the easiest way to do it, where we already have an email sign up form. So in the past like minute, we set it up, ready to go. Going down, we also have tags here. So if we go down, actually, let me make sure that I saved this. It looks like we are all good. So if we go down to tags, the next thing is tags, meaning that you can actually add different labels to different people in groups on your contact list. So you can make separate contact lists if you upgrade, or you can add tags. And tags is great for if you have multiple media sources, so Instagram versus TikTok, and maybe they're totally different topics. You want to add a tag to make sure that when you're sending an email, you're only sending it to people of a specific interest, so you have a better opening rate and overall better conversions there. Then we have segments. I don't really use segments, but we do have surveys here, which is a new one as they show there, which is essentially going to be, I believe, a replacement of SurveyMonkey, or at least what I've been using it for so far. It's really doing exactly what I want that SurveyMonkey used to do. And so we can just go and say, create a survey. And so creating a survey is going to be very self-explanatory like you think. We can add a question. We have several options for what the question is going to look like. So we could say, maybe it's just going to be like a radio button. So you could say, how much do you like Captain Crunch? A lot. We could also click the plus and say a little. And we could add it and say not at all. And so now you're going to have radio buttons there. And you can make this one required. You can make it maybe not required, whatever. And so that's going to be your first one. And we can also add auto tagging based on answers if you're interested in that, a little bit smarter. Like I said in tagging before, if you send out a survey, you could find out who's interested in what and tag accordingly. We can also add tons of other questions from a range, and we could say like, do you like Santrel? How much do you like Santrel? And you can have a range here as well. And so you can kind of just keep going through this, and then you'll say continue to design. And again, the design is going to be really straightforward. So you can add images at the top. You can include or not include the MailChimp banner. Of course, with a free one, they are going to include that, unfortunately. And you can add a custom message. You can have a submit button. You can change it to send or something like that. If you don't want it to be submit, you can say send my results, something like that. And so this would be a cool way to make maybe like some kind of quiz or something like that, or otherwise just maybe even straight up survey people and ask what they're interested in with your content. So this is a great way to just find out more about people and really collect a lot of data without having to use a lot of other software. So we can finalize the survey. It's untitled right now, so you can edit the name. You can choose who you'd want to send it to in the next one. So we'll say finalize survey. And it's going to give us some options right here where we can share it in a campaign. So we can send out an email to our audience right now. We could share it anywhere just with the link. So if you're using this for work or any other situation, a fundraiser, emails that you already have, or even just text it to people, you can easily do that here. You can share it on Facebook, share it on Twitter. Very, very easily to do. Very easy to do all of this stuff. And you'll see the results down here below as they start to roll in. But if we just go back to surveys, you'll see that we can have multiple surveys as well. So that's our first one that I didn't title. And you can go in and edit that, see responses, and really manage all of that right from within audiences down in surveys. Now, I don't usually use Preferences Center or Inbox. Inbox is going to be a little bit more advanced, and they're going to allow you to see things like all your different emails and kind of manage more responses within MailChimp. Again, not something I typically have been using, at least not for my purposes. Maybe you'll use it, but it's something that we're going to kind of not talk about in this video right now. We can go down to campaigns, and this is really the big one. So if you are looking to send emails to your audience, this is where you'd be doing it. Within campaigns, you only have 3 options, and they're really self-explanatory. The first one is all campaigns. All the emails you're sending, you can see within here like how many people opened them, what it was titled. You can go and edit them. You can do all kinds of stuff like that, make duplicates of them. Then we have email templates. If there's something that you're regularly sending, a template might be a good idea. So maybe a weekly newsletter, you'd want to have a similar format all the time. And then the last thing is reports, obviously showing you some analytics on how your previous campaigns went. So from here, you can see that on the left side, we have ongoing ones, we have drafts, we have completed ones, and then you can go down and see what type of campaign we are running. So it doesn't always have to be just emails. I typically use this the most for emails, but it could be all kinds of different stuff that you're doing on MailChimp. So if you're seeing surveys, social posts, ads, landing pages, technically all of that is going to show up in campaigns here. And so that's why if you want to see stuff and you want to manage a lot of what you're doing within campaigns, within all campaigns, is actually a great place to do that. But you can see right here, the survey that we just made is showing up. And if we click the little down arrow, we can duplicate this if we want to make something very, very similar. So that's something I would typically do if I don't have time to make a template. Instead, I end up making one email or one survey. I like how it went and I want to make a similar one. I would just replicate that, or you can view it. You can also see some results. And so that's all within this field right here. If we go down to email templates, like I said, email templates is going to allow you to create templates. I believe we might need to upgrade to a more premium version for this, but MailChimp may allow us to do it for free. So yeah, right there. So upgrade to use all these templates, a lot of them at least, you do have to upgrade to use. It looks like this one might be free, but there's a lot of good ones. And so they have some pre-made, but of course you could create your own, which is what I've maybe done in the past every now and then. It's like something you'll probably want to do if you have regular emails, not really my personal brands, but have helped other people do this. And it's something that, again, takes a little bit more time investment to make the good template. But once you do, it's a great way to save time in the long run and have really good looking emails, really good looking surveys, or whatever you're going to end up doing with the template. So if I just click on back, it'll take me back to the dashboard here. And we can go down to reports. Being that I didn't send out any emails yet, we're not going to see any reports here for emails, but we can actually create an email in a second, and you guys will start to see where that stuff shows up down here. But so that's essentially everything in campaigns. Of course, from here, you could also go to create a campaign. Again, MailChimp loves making as many shortcuts in as many places as possible, so it can make it easy. It could make it confusing though, which is why if you ever doubt where you make stuff, you just always go up to the little pen icon, and that's going, or pencil icon, and that's going to be where you're doing stuff. So that's campaigns. Going down to automations, this is another one that is actually incredibly powerful, and it's something that I really like to use. It's something that a lot of people also don't end up using, but you can do all kinds of crazy things here. Some from like campaign journeys, or customer journeys is what they're calling this one, which is some basic logic, as you can kind of see. Actually, let's just go and create one right now. You guys will see what I'm talking about. Let's create a customer journey, and this is going to be a lot of some basic logic, like if-then type stuff. It doesn't require coding, of course, but well, you'll just see in a second. So we're going to call this one map 1. You can name it obviously whatever you want. So here the first thing is to choose a starting point. And choosing a starting point essentially means what is going to trigger this campaign? What is going to trigger this automation? And we have a lot of options on the left side. Each one has some main things right here, but the popular ones would be like when somebody signs up. You could send a welcome email. You could send multiple emails. You could say a welcome one, and then the next day send like another one. And so this is something we see a lot of times with course funnels. When somebody has an online course, they'll give like an email for 7 days, and it'll be like 7 steps to make $1 million or whatever. And so it's a very popular way to create that automation, so you don't have to do that every time somebody signs up. Similarly, a birthday is something I recommend for like restaurants, for example, or really any e-commerce store where on somebody's birthday, you might want to send them a coupon or a discount. And it's a great way to kind of incentivize them, like, hey, it's your birthday, here's 50% off. Come bring your friends and eat out at my restaurant, because you might know that people tend to eat out on their birthday, and that'd be a great way to get them to come to your place. We can also say when tags are added, or as we get on here, tons of other things. When somebody joins or leaves a group on specific days, like a sign-up date for shopping activity, if you want to have an abandoned cart. So for when somebody goes on your store, add something in their cart, and then they maybe, the doorbell rang, they forgot they had their cart or the laptop open, and they ended up not buying it. You can send them an email the next day and say, hey, you forgot to check out, and really recover a lot of potentially lost traffic that way. Marketing activity, of course, from survey responses or some more advanced stuff on the bottom. But let's just say for now, when somebody signs up, we're just going to send them a basic welcome email. We're not going to include imported contacts. We want only when they sign up. So we will say we don't need that. So let's click the little X. And so right now we have when somebody signs up, that's the first start. We can have other starts as well, other triggers for this automation. But just for now, when somebody signs up, we can have right here, the little plus, we can add something from the left side. So from the left side, we can say if else, so you have some options here. So if they sign up and one of two situations happens, if they sign up from this list or this list, do different things. So we'll get to that in a second. Or we can go down to some basic stuff. If they sign up, send them an email. This is a very basic automation just to send a welcome email. And so you can actually go and choose what the email is. You can customize it right here. We can edit that, and you could do this schedule every day as soon as possible. Probably don't want to do that. Probably want a single, we could just make it like on Monday. We'll make it not every day. So whenever they sign up, maybe the first Monday, it'll be sent out as soon as possible. So that way, everybody who signs up within the past week will get it the following Monday to say, hey, welcome to the new week. And that might be a great way to do that. So we're going to say save. We're going to close this. Of course, you can customize all of this right here. I'm not going to get into that. I'm just talking about the premises of what these automations might be. But that would be essentially one automation right here. But instead, maybe we're going to say, let's do something else. So let's, after that, add a delay, and we're going to send another email the next day. So we're going to delay for one week, 1 week later. So we're going to wait a week, and then we're going to say, let's do a little if else. So we add if else, click and drag that down. And so here we can say, if we click on that, we'll choose what the if else means. So we can say if the person opened the first email, then the answer is yes. Otherwise, the answer is no. So that is going to be our little automation right here. So if the person opens our email, then we're going to do something. So if they open the email, we can go and send them another email. So we'll click and drag send email down there. So we have send email. So we could say if they open it, we'll send them another email, and this other email would be like, hey, welcome to something else, and you might just want to keep doing this. If they open it, send them another email because clearly they're interested in that. And if they're not, you could even just say like, hey, if they didn't open it, or if they didn't open any of the last 5, just unsubscribe them because clearly they're not actually that interested in your list. So there's a lot of really powerful automations you can do here, and you guys can mess around with this. You see the options on the left side there, and when you click on the individual item, it allows allows you to really customize exactly what that does. So like gets email, you can choose what email they're getting, what day they're getting it, who it's from, who it's going to, and what kind of customized input you want on that in general. So that's essentially automations. I'm not going to get too deep into that. If you guys want to learn more about automations, leave a comment. I'll make an entire video just on how to do these because they are so incredibly powerful. It's something I really love to do. And so within automations, again, a lot of other stuff here, transactional email, retargeting ads, more and more powerful stuff there. But the other thing actually is you can also go to create a classic automation, which would be what we saw before with MailChimp. If you like the older way of doing it, that's how you would find that. And so from here, you could say really the same concept here, but it's just a little bit more curated, a little bit less freeform, which is good in some sense when you're trying to just make like a happy birthday one, for example. It's a really easy thing to just click that and you're ready to go. But I really like the customer journeys. So that's automations. If we go down, we then have website. Making a website with here, I think, is a great way to make a landing page for any time you want signups or really just in general. If you don't have an external website besides your MailChimp signup, then I think having a website right here is a great way to just at least make it look a little bit better, a little bit more user-friendly, a little bit more inviting, and it should help your conversions. Okay, so here we are on the website tab, and we have 4 options here. You can manage domains. If you want to buy a domain through MailChimp or you want to connect a domain, you can very easily do this, have your own email besides just a Gmail account. So this is a great thing to do for a lot of businesses. Obviously, if you can afford it, I would really recommend not being like joe5970@gmail.com and instead being like joe@localplumbing.com, whatever your website might be. So I think that's a great way to connect it into here. And also you can use that, you could literally use that domain for the website if you wanted, or you could just use that domain with your email so that you have a more professional email there. So going over to website, you can actually build a website here. So I'm going to name it, let's just say Santrel tutorial, whatever, we're just gonna name it that site. And we can say edit my site. And they actually give you a reasonable editor here. So unlike what we saw with the little sign up form builder, this is much easier to use. So we can actually just click the X here. And you have some options. You can just go into the first page that they have, or you can add other pages on here. So if you want to have like an About Me page, or disclaimer page, all kinds of different pages, a refunds page, you can add stuff like that right here. But we're just going to go and edit the first page. And well, actually, before we do that, I want to point out on the left side that we have a cookie banner. So you could enable a cookie banner or disable that if you plan on having cookies track people. We can also go to styles and change the colors of it or change the font of it, as you can see here. I actually kind of like that first one a lot. And it's a cool color palette right now. You can change it to playful or vibrant or whatever you want. Let's go to balanced for now. Actually, I think I did like cool. Cool looks pretty good. So let's go back, and now we can actually just edit this page. Like I said, click edit page, and it brings you into a really, honestly, pretty good editor for a website. It's really easy to use. You have different little strips. A strip layout is very common for websites these days. And I would say this is probably most similar to the Squarespace editor. So if you're looking at it, you see that this is outlined in kind of a bluish green box. When you hover over the next one, this area is one banner. This is a banner here. And clicking on any individual one of them, you can change the color of the one. So if we want to change like the background of this to black, very easy to do. We could also change, if we want to add an image in the background, we could do that. And then we could go back and just, if you click edit section, there's tons of options. You can edit the text there. You can edit like the layout of that. And of course, if you click on any part of it, you can edit what the text is. So we could say like, we sell stuff, and add whatever you want there. Change all this text. So change this text. And you get the idea of how we can do that. And you can underline it and change anything you want. You can even add links to that. So if we want the word this to link to something, we'll click on the little chain icon. And you can link it to an external URL or a page or section within your site. So like I said, this is something that is relatively new and continues to improve. The MailChimp website builder is actually becoming a viable solution for anybody looking for a one-page site or even a multi-page site, as long as it's relatively simple and you're not trying to like sell stuff and do e-commerce on there. But for a lot of people, this is a great way to make a site. And I think you kind of get the idea of how you can edit individual sections. Like if we wanted to edit this one, You can click on the text and change that, change the way it looks. If we want this text here to be like purple, we could do that. Or actually, I think that was the background. We can click on the button and change the button where it goes to. If the button's going to link to a different URL, or just we want it to look, again, maybe like this pinkish color. If we want to change the style any way we want, we could change the radius. So if we want like a radius on the edge of maybe like 15 pixels, 15, you'll see that we have kind of a rounded edge on there. And I mean, overall, that's really nice to have. Similarly, the photo right here, we can edit this. We can add alt text to it. We can add a radius on the outside. So to make it consistent, let's add a 15 pixel radius there. And we can even add a link to this picture. So if we want this photo to link to something, people can click on that and it could go to a product or whatever you want. So this is, I mean, very clearly a really capable way to have a landing page, and you can change what the domain is for the landing page as I showed you before. But right here, you can see that it's also a great way to add a sign-up form. So this is what I would generally do rather than having the sign-up form in the beginning, which I know I mentioned it was easier. It definitely looks so much better when you have it embedded in a site right here. And actually, if you want this to be higher up, remember how I said that there was a kind of a strip layout here? We have this strip, we have this strip. On the left side, you can click the little up arrow and it'll move it up. Similar, you can move it down if you wanted to, but we could just move this up and put it maybe like right above there. And that's going to be how you can sign up for our newsletter. So subscribe to our newsletter. And there you go. So suddenly people can they can join your newsletter. And of course, you can add other fields if you want. So you can add first name on there, last name on there, birthday on there, and you can make other ones required. Very, very, very easy to do this. And so, I mean, it's great. I really like seeing this. I know I keep saying it's great, but it's very impressive because, like I said, when I started using MailChimp a couple of years ago, it was nowhere near where it is today. But that's essentially how you would make a page. We can go and preview the page on the top, and again, preview it in both desktop mode, as you see right here, or in a mobile view, as you'll see right here. And in both situations, it is a very responsive website, so it adapts very well, and I think it looks really good in either situation. So we can exit the preview, and we can say done. And so that's going to be how we have a page on our site. And of course, we can go and add other pages if you want to, and other pages are going to look really similar. So unfortunately, you don't have a lot of different options with templates. But all things considered, it's very editable and very easy to use. So let's just keep that one page for now and go and say publish. Now, when you publish this, it's going to use like Santrel tutorial.mailchimp.com or something like that. So we're going to accept the terms, publish it, and now we have a pretty good landing page right there that is our site. So if we hit Control click, you'll see open in a new tab. And that's our website. With no effort at all, we're able to have a website. Of course, you can change anything you want on here, the font, the colors, the pictures, but very simple and really, honestly, pretty robust. So that's everything in the website category. You can go down to settings, and this is where you're really going to change the domain if you want. So if you don't want it to be like santreltutorial.mailchimp.com, we could just say, we could get rid of the dash maybe, for example, and save that. Or like I said, you could connect your own custom domain so you don't have that MailChimpSites.com in your domain. Tracking is disabled, like I said, and that's something that you can enable if you really want to have some more cookies in there and really know what people are doing. But generally, you don't always have to use that. So then after that, we have Content Studio down here, which is actually going to allow you to either connect your Instagram or upload your logo, upload some photos or products that you're going to frequently reference in your designs for emails or for any other campaign. If you want it to be accessible, you can manage that right down here in Content Studio. And Creative Assistant also allows you to, so if we go up to Creative Assistant, it allows you to do some other stuff. So if we go down here, you can see that we can very easily make little banners based on the logo, or it just pulled it from the website that we already have. So they pull the logo, they pull an image, some text, and it's really easy to do stuff like that. So if I just really like this banner here, I could select the style, and we can go and edit that, and we could use it on the website, or we could use it in an email. And you can see there's a lot of different options with how it kind of pre-makes a couple designs and saves you some time when you're making, again, anything you want. If you want it for Twitter, for LinkedIn, for YouTube, it gives you some really good options. Now, this is not a full replacement for Canva, but it does do some replacement. So if you want to just make a quick little Instagram thing, you could be using MailChimp instead of Canva. Of course, slightly less functional, like I mentioned, but still very capable of doing that stuff. And then lastly, we can go down to search, and we can find whatever we want on MailChimp if we're trying to change individual things. Or we can go down here and we can actually see our account. So if we can go to notifications, there's no notifications right now. We can change our profile, our account. You can hire an expert. Hopefully you don't need to do that, or we can upgrade our account. And so upgrading it, like I mentioned before, does give you more functionality as you start to grow your audience. I believe 2,000 is the limit where you start to move up to essentials and then standard and then premium. And so, yeah, right there, 2,000 contact maximum. And then up here, you'll see that it depends on what you're doing, but the prices are slightly different. So with 500 contacts, it's $10 a month, and it's going to give you some extra features and stuff like that. So it is admittedly a little bit confusing when you look at this. I recommend going down to compare plan features, and you'll see we have like A to B testing here. Then over here, we'll have some journey automations, and then over here, we'll see some more advanced stuff. So definitely can get expensive quickly once you start to really expand your audience, but hopefully you're converting very well, and you can start off free with up to 2,000 contacts. And I mean, I think that's a pretty solid way to start. Hopefully after you have 2,000 contacts, you're able to make enough revenue from your email campaigns that you can easily pay for this, multiple times over. So that's pretty much everything that we have on the left side. The last thing I wanted to talk about was if we go up to create, we have those options for creating an email. We talked about creating a customer journey, an email template. We talked about making a landing page or a website. We talked about making a survey. We didn't really talk about making an ad. I'm not going to touch on that too much in this video. And really, I want to go back to creating an email. That's a really big aspect that I'm sure a lot of people will want to do when they're using MailChimp. Obviously, it's going to be an email campaign platform. That's the origin of it. And so we can make a campaign and call this like campaign 0. And we can say begin. This could be an automated one. It could be a plain text one. I'm going with regular right now, meaning I'm just going to send it out to my audience. Say it's maybe a new newsletter, a new product, a new sale, whatever it might be. And we have just a quick little checklist here of what we want to go through. So first, who are we going to send it to? We don't have any contacts, but you would see like your main, like you'd send it to just all contacts, for example, and that's how you do that. Then the little check mark turns green. We can go down and we can say, who is it from? So let's cancel that. Who is it from? We can, by default, it should be from, once you do this once, it should by default be from me. So we're going to say from Mike, and we can say Mike@santrelmedia.com. Mike@santrelmedia.com. We can say save. We didn't verify that domain, so it's not able to send from that yet. So instead, we will have to just send from Santrel Tutorials. There we go. So that's the email that I already did verify. Otherwise, you'd have to click verify and have to prove that you own that. Otherwise, you can't obviously send. I can't just send an email from like Jeff Bezos at Amazon.com, obviously. So that's their way of protecting and making sure that you're not doing anything fraudulent. So if we go and say save, we can then add a subject. Of course, you want it to be a really nice, catchy subject, not too scammy, not something that's going to get shoved into a spam folder on an email, and something that people are likely to open. You can have preview text as well, which surprisingly, a lot of people don't realize this, but the preview text in an email, like the first little line below the title or the subject, doesn't always have to appear anywhere in the email body itself. So you can actually add your own custom little preview text here, a little summary of what you're doing. And I think it's a really great way to make it a little bit more catchy. It's something that you definitely should spend some time on, really optimize that, and think about what people are doing when you send them email and what would make them want to open that. And then lastly, we can go down to design email, and from here we can choose the classic builder, which we had before, or the new builder. I'm going to select the new one. It's going to be really similar to what we saw on the website builder before, where you have kind of that strip layout. And honestly, big improvement here. Very, very easy to design them compared to what it was in the past. And now, so you can easily click on any one of these, just like we saw with the website, and we can edit the stuff by changing the text. Or on the left side, we have like the size of the text. If we want to change that, maybe we can add links. So if we want this to link to something, just click on the little link icon there and link to a web address, an affiliate link, whatever you want. And you can add a photo down here just by clicking on the photo, click on add image, and go to upload an image, or you can select an image that we already have uploaded. So I think this may have, okay, it doesn't have any images right now, but it could pull like your logo from your website, which it's not showing me right now, but you get the idea of how you would maybe change that. Again, alt text here for describing to the search engine what it actually is. And of course, if you want that to link somewhere, you can add a link as well. Here you can have links for social media. You want to make sure that you go and customize this so it goes to your social media. And if you want to add more stuff between them, you can click on the little plus icon there and add a logo, a button, a product, whatever you want, a video. If you want to embed a video in your email, you can go and add tons of other things, a specific layout if you want to have like a little picture and some text to the right. So you can make some really, really professional looking emails with almost no effort at all using these little templates here and using this builder. So I think MailChimp really came a long way, putting them ahead of a lot of other email campaign software just by adding this little builder right here. I think this was a great idea for them to do this. So once you have this all built out, obviously I wouldn't send anything that looks like this, but you get the idea of how you can actually edit everything and really change the size of stuff as well. But I'm going to say continue, and then it'll actually ask us, so content, we have to remove placeholder content, right? So it's not ready to send, it's letting us know that. But then once you are ready, you should be able to just go and send it. Obviously, it's not showing me the send button because we have so many different things right here that are just not complete yet. But I mean, you guys get the idea of what we'd want to do. Once you have an email list, once you start to build this up, that's how you'd go about making a campaign and actually sending it out. And like I said, once you do send it out, you would go down to reports, and this would be where you'd find some more information about how many people opened it, how many people clicked on your links, how long they had it open, like all kinds of different information related to the email campaign that you just sent out. But guys, that's everything I have for you in this video. Hopefully that explained at least a little bit about how to use MailChimp. I know that was a lot of information to cover, but the good news is MailChimp has become substantially easier to use than it used to be. And so I recommend just going through our link in the description and start working with MailChimp, start messing around. You'll start clicking on audience and campaigns, and you'll start to figure out and get used to where different things are. They also have little pop-ups that should help you as well. But if you guys enjoyed this video, consider liking and subscribing. I'm Mike O'Brien with Santrel Media. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.